Dapian says, with the embargo stuff, I find it the funniest when the devs don't let you see a game at all when they know it flops, like that Avatar game. I mean, yeah, that's funny too, right? You got to wonder if they're not showing anything of their game up until release date. What's up with that? Here's the thing, though. If the entire industry did that, then I would understand. You say, we don't want any of our game getting out early. We don't want reviewers having an agenda. We don't want content creators kissing its butt or slamming it. We just want everyone to judge for themselves. And if they actually said that for day one and everyone followed suit, then the industry would be like it used to be. But we don't have that anymore. Now we have the complete and polar opposite. So, the Blimp says, valid points. What do you think the solution is? How can we vote with our wallets without viewing some early access, regardless of parasite mutualism? I mean, honestly, all I would say is like it has to be back in the day when they show off those little bit of gameplay clips and things like that, because they do. They always have like a little early, you know, here's an early teaser gameplay trailer, 5 minutes of gameplay of our game or something like that, right? That you can usually believe, to some extent. Of course, don't fall for it like the Watch Dogs fiasco a decade ago where they showed off gameplay that wasn't really gameplay. But for the most part, yeah, it's pretty sad. I don't think you can. I think the best way to go about it is thus. Let's say you're interested in a game, but you're on the fence about it. Do not watch a show. Wait for release day. I know this is going to take an incredible amount of self-control because the problem with the human condition is we all have to buy into hype and be a part of that hype, correct? We have to. So we need to play that game on launch day. No, you don't. Here's what you do. If you're truly on the fence for a game, don't pre-order it. Don't get hyped for it. Follow some information from the actual game publisher that's out there. Watch the trailer. Maybe look at the little dev diaries. And they usually put out a little bit of early gameplay. And that's it. Don't watch all this early access horseshit from everyone who's lying to you. Okay? Then when release day comes out, actually watch someone who bought the game. And then judge based on their opinions if it's something that you're going to like or not. And make sure it's someone that's of like mind of you, maybe someone who likes the kind of games you do or whatever. But I know that's crazy. Because, wait a minute, I'm not going to buy it and play it on release day? No, don't do that. You have to have some self-restraint. Don't rush out to buy everything the moment it's out. When there's a new chicken sandwich at McDonald's, don't rush to McDonald's to buy it. When the new Apple phone comes out, don't rush to the Apple store to buy it. And when a new video game comes out, don't fucking pre-order it and get the collector's edition for $500 with the season pass of content you'll never use, a statue that's a piece of shit that falls apart, and a bunch of microtransactions you spend money on after the fact. Just fucking wait for the game to come out. Wait for someone who bought the fucking game to stream it, and then you'll know if it's good or not. There you go. Huge Bass did a $5 super chat and says there's nothing wrong with a company not wanting negative press while it's under development. Usually they want people to test the game for bugs. That is the case for some games, and that's why there's some games that have closed alphas that you cannot broadcast. People can talk about the game, but they can't show you the game, and that's fine. Because if that's true, if that really is a true closed alpha environment, we want people to test it, but we don't want anyone to show it yet. It's not done. That makes sense. That's not Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals right now is being streamed all over the internet publicly, and no one can criticize the game. That's not what you're talking about. That's what I'm criticizing. Closed alpha, where only you're playing the game early for development purposes, there's nothing wrong with that at all. That's a good practice. That way, when people fucking buy the game has actually been play tested to some extent in a multiplayer environment, and you're not the guinea pig for a game you bought already. That I'm okay with. That's very different and literally not even close to what we're talking about today. I received a $2 tip from Toxic Sludge. To further your point, Worth a Buy is still honest in his reviews. In return, he's blacklisted by multiple companies and has to buy games day one instead. Really? I mean, you're saying that there's concrete evidence of what I'm saying? No fucking way, right? Are you shocked that someone who is honest would be blacklisted? Well, thank you, Toxic Sludge, for that. I appreciate that very much, Toxic Sludge. First tip of the day, and some actual corroborating evidence to what I've been saying for over a decade. Uh, Dabhan says, I don't listen to reviews, period. If a game looks good to me, I'll try it. If it's bad, oh well. I'm okay with being disappointed and trying again next time. See, for me, here's what I get out of a review. How long is the game? What is the actual structure of the game? What style of gameplay is the game? That's the kind of stuff that I get out of review. Objective facts. The subjective stuff, you know, I always have a grain of salt reading these modern reviews with what people subjectively say, because number one, I've been around much longer than most other gamers. I've been playing games since the Atari era. Most people who are reviewing games for journalistic avenues now, they're 20 years younger than me, right? So they don't have the experience I have. They don't know truly the history of gaming. They haven't even been around watching YouTube for the 15 years I've been making videos. So for me, I know more than the fucking journalists anyway. So I'm not going to believe the horseshit that they say, and the little nitpicks and fucking gripes they have about games and shit. Sometimes it's absolutely hilarious to read that shit. So, objective facts from reviews, good. But outside of that, yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you there that reading these reviews, a lot of these modern ones at face value, is pretty bad. So someone, Bader just said, why don't I go back to reviewing games like you used to? Well, here's the thing. I'm not that kind of content creator anymore. When I used to review games all the time, I was the guy who, number one, could get the game on release day, play through it fast, get the review out quick, right? Can't do that anymore. Literally, people will have reviewed games before I have a chance to buy them, okay? So already, that whole idea of having that truthful, honest review out early is gone. I can't even do that anymore. I'm not even in competition with these big paid shills. I can't be, okay? The game has changed in that regard. That's number one. Number two, I'm not an on-demand video creator anymore. You know, back in the day, I would buy a game, sit there for 3 straight days, play the fuck out of it, get the full playthrough up in 3 days. And by the way, no one complained about the amount of videos I uploaded in one day back then. People liked the fact that I was uploading 30, 40, 50, 60 videos in a day sometimes. They were like, thank you so much to have that much content. Today, everyone bitches and moans there's too much content, right? And so, it was a different thing. Today, I'm a live streamer. Today, most of my income comes from these streams. What you guys contribute during the live stream. Super chats, membership, gifted memberships, tips. That's what I make my living on. So I need to have a schedule. I need to be here to interact with you guys. And just on the basis that I have that going, I cannot play as many games as I used to. I used to be playing 2, 3, 4 games a week sometimes, getting through them and reviewing them. Now I'll be lucky to beat 4 games in a month, because of the nature of the way of content that I make now, right? Now, listen, I'm not complaining. I like my job more now than I did back then. Having this interaction, and literally the only reason I'm answering your question is because I'm a different kind of content creator today, right? That's good. I didn't have this opportunity to have this social interaction with people back then because I was too busy playing fucking video games and finishing them within a day and then getting to the next and reviewing and reviewing. If it was the same as it was back in the day, then yeah, my reviews would have merit. They wouldn't anymore. Who cares about me reviewing another Crab's Treasure a month after the game is out? The hype has already passed for the game, and most people probably would not even be buying it because they're on to the next. And that's another problem with our games industry, is that too many people now are of, what's hot today? I'll play it for a week. What's hot the next week? I'll play it for a week. What's hot the next week? Instead of, what are the actual good games worth investment of time and actually giving your attention to for an extended period of time, rather than buying an indie game for $10 and playing it for a week because some fucking streamer got it, and then playing Helldivers 2 for a week, and then playing the next, game for a week, and the next one. And, that's where the games industry is really going. Because if you haven't noticed, all the AAA games recently are terrible. So you end up going to quick little flash-in-the-pan success games over and over and over. That doesn't work with my formula of me playing through a game and eventually reviewing it a few weeks down the line. Who cares about that review by the time it's out? Nobody. So that's why, the only way I could go back to that old style of content would be to completely change who I am, stop being a full-time live streamer, going back to pumping out games as fast as humanly possible after they come out, which means no online streaming or interaction, just me sitting here playing. No talking, no podcast, nothing. Just me playing games constantly. I don't want to do that. I really don't. I like who I am today way better than who I was back then. I like the content I put out today better than what I did back then. I don't want to go backwards, Oh, let's see. To play devil's advocate, the biggest streamer in the world plays a historically non-hype game. I don't know who you're talking about, but obviously that doesn't apply to our discussion. So that's not applying to what we're talking about today. This whole industry standard of paid shill, symbiotic relationships obviously doesn't apply to that situation. So the Blim says that, yup, immediate gratification is why microtransactions and pay to win is more and more popular. People just don't have patience anymore. RG690, I don't have physical games anymore. I don't buy physical games. Everything's digital now. Kermit Kogo says the gaming industry is going to die. There's nothing we can do. I disagree. The problem is you have to see a collective change shift focus of consumers, and that's the problem, is that they're not doing it. We're consumers focused on what's popular. Instead of being smart and listening to the things that people are talking about in the industry that are bad, they're just focusing on what's popular. So they have no problem with being advertised to every day, despite the fact the stream says hashtag ad on it. They'll still watch it because it has an insane amount of views going on. They're ignorant. It's ignorance is causing the industry's downfall. That's what's going on. Greed of the corporations in charge, and greed of the content creators who take the bag, and ignorance of the common gamer and consumer. That's the reason. Now, how on earth do we stop that? That I can't answer you. I don't have reach or clout. I don't have reach or clout. I could sit here and say this stuff, and at least I'm reaching a few hundred people. Right now, I'm reaching 300 people, but I can't make anyone listen, nor can I make anyone talk about this outside of my stream. You know, it's up to you guys to go out there and tell your friends, tell your fellow gamers about what's going on. Say, this is bad. This needs to stop. This is ruining the industry. This is a horrible thing that needs an attitude that needs to change. But that's the problem is, I reached 300 people on the show, right? A few thousand on demand, because I get like probably about between 500 to 1,000 on demand viewers, and then my echo chamber of idiotic trolls. So, you know, I'll reach a few thousand people each show, but that's not enough to change the fucking industry. Back in the day, I literally could do things that got enough popularity on YouTube that everyone in the industry talked about it. Take a look at my video about SOPA, PIPA, and S.978, whatever the fuck those laws were, getting hundreds of thousands of views, and everyone's now abuzz about those topics. But that was taken away from me over the years through the ridicule, the derision, and making me the running joke and meme of the internet. You took away my power to speak to truths like this. Awful things happening in the industry. No one pays attention to me. You know what? You get a big YouTuber like fucking Moist Critical to talk about this, then you'll get some clout. Then maybe you'll get some traction. Then maybe people will actually care. But does Moist care about this shit? I don't know. Does Moist take these promotions? I don't know. I have no clue. I don't know. I really don't know anything about the guy. But he would be like the prominent guy. Guys of his stature starting to talk about shit like this, they could get actually things to change. But they would actually need to speak up. I'm sure Moist gets these offers constantly from these companies, you know? Were review embargoes as bad back in the day as they are today? Review embargoes didn't exist because no one got the games early. If no one's getting it early, then you can't have a review embargo, right? Only journalists were getting the games early, and they were reviewing the game they'd have just enough time to get the game and get the review out a few days before it came out. So there was no issue. Now, everyone is handed the game early and has a review embargo. What's the last game I even bothered to pre-order? Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, because I wanted to preload it, because I knew it was going to be a bigger game, and it was going to have a lot of content. And sadly, I bought the more expensive version of the game, thinking it was going to pay off, and it absolutely did not. Yeah, that would have been it. And since then, no, I just buy games. I'll buy them like the day before, just to be sure it's preloaded on my console for the stream. I don't pre-order games early. What's the point? What is the point of pre-ordering a game digitally exactly? You're not reserving a copy. You can download it whenever you want. So why on earth would you ever pre-order a game digitally? It doesn't even make sense. And like I said, I don't pick up games physically anymore. I just get everything on the console. Yeah, that's true. The beef pounder says I missed back when they used to have pre-order goodies at places like GameStop. Yeah, remember the cool little things I would have? I'd have a hat. That Sonic hat is a pre-order bonus. This Sonic hat right here. This Sonic hat right here, which of course has become some big thing in detractor communities because they're all mentally challenged. They think that wearing a silly Sonic hat is something to be made fun of or something. They're moronic. This cool Sonic hat was a pre-order for Sonic Generations. All you had to do is pre-order Sonic Generations at GameStop, and if you were, I think, one of the first like 30 people or something to pick it up at the store, you get the Sonic hat for free. Things like that all the time back in the day for pre-ordering. You know, a little incentive that you would get. You know, pretty cool. But now there's nothing. You get nothing anywhere. You get a digital download of a fucking weapon that sucks. Wow, I'm so glad that I pre-ordered your game, right?